What's good, people? This is KM.Little right here. We're gonna be reacting to a whole bunch of Gen Z just giving up in this economy. Let's go ahead and get to it.
So I'm seeing a lot of content where the baby boomers and some millennials and some Gen Xers are complaining about Gen Zs tapping out and how lazy they are. I am probably one of the very few people who thinks that y'all tapping out and giving up or whatever you want to call it is genius as fuck. I'm not gonna berate y'all for it. I am not mad about it. I am just as happy about y'all tapping out as I am about the birth rates declining. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because capitalism cannot thrive without participants.
Okay, so my personal opinion, I do like capitalism. I don't any other economy that I've seen. I'm not really too much of a fan of it. My personal opinion. But then this is what happens with capitalism. Businesses thrive, but people who work, got to work overtime. Like a person like me working 80 hours. In this economy, I shouldn't really have to work 84 hours a week. I don't really mind it too much. But then there's people who doing manual labor, doing like 84 hours, probably more than me every single week. You know what I'm saying? Out here killing it. But it's a difference when you working hard to get ahead, but versus working hard to live. Nobody should work 80 hours to live.
Getting closer and closer and closer to quitting my job and becoming a crackhead. I mean, it's just fuck.
Becoming a crackhead. I mean, hey, look, I have a friend. I would never do all this stuff, but I have a friend that he just, if he have bills, he just don't care about it. He lives free.
Research finds that millennials and Gen Z, aka younger workers, do not care about finding fulfillment and following their passion at work and having purpose. None of that really matters. And a big reason is because the employee employer contract is broken. Employees are not getting what they need to survive and thrive in today's world, a world which is becoming very, very, very expensive regularly. And so money is king. It really always has been. But now young people are not going to get tricked into thinking that, hey, you got to follow your passion at work and make a meaningful impact. Like, none of that matters if they're not getting paid fairly and adequately so they can afford rent, potentially buy a house, a car.
See, the thing is with this economy, it's more about surviving and thriving. A lot of people wanted to chase their passion. Like me, I wanted to chase my passion when I was younger, but with DoorDash, you always got a problem with your car. So I always try to focus on what's happening in real life before my passion. And I ain't gonna lie, a lot of times that put me behind because my transmission went out at like, I think 160, 150,000 miles. My car is at 260,000. So it lasts an extra 100,000. But at the same time, when you're dealing with real life stuff, it's hard for you to really want to chase your passion. It's really hard. Like the only way for you to thrive in this economy is to have a good job that won't cut back your hours. And if you want to work extra hours, you can do that.
Into a pre-war apartment from a luxury apartment. And one of the first comments that somebody that I know said about my apartment was, one of the things somebody told me was, oh my God, like I showed them the apartment. They were like, oh, I don't like your walls. Like you have popcorn walls. I was like, I'd rather have popcorn walls than pay 2,500 for a luxury apartment that I barely stay at because you're at work 5 times out of the week. But the fact that like that was the first thing, it was just like, oh, you have popcorn walls. So what is that gonna do for my life?
This one with DoorDash was actually good. I put in 80 hours a week and I made like $1,960 or somewhere around there. And if I kept putting in 80 hours, I was making at least $1,900 a week. But this is the thing though, right? If you constantly put in 80 hours, you wake up, you go out there and work, you don't have time to sit there and just relax in your house and stuff like that. Especially when you're doing DoorDash, you have to constantly beat the curb because any moment your car can go bad. Anybody that been working and all that type of stuff, even if you're doing DoorDash or you just working a regular job, if your car goes bad and that's probably one of your main ways of making money, or either like you have nobody in the city that can take you to work and you definitely don't want to ride no bus, you're out of luck. So you have to keep constantly saving. You have to miss out on life. You can't go out there and have, what I'm saying? I mean, you can go out there and have little, days you have with friends and stuff like that. But you can't make no major like moves. Like, okay, if I want to go stay in a different city for like a month or like a week, and you know you kind of want to splurge, but if you splurge too much, now you gonna be back. You can't pay your $16, $18, $2,500 rent for that month.
65 years old, 55 and up, who have worked their asses up. Let me just go 60 plus. Your kids are 30 years old. They're coming out of college. You're 25 years old. They're coming out of college. The burden of parents to support younger kids, or is it the bigger burden for kids to support aging parents? What's a bigger burden?
It's a way bigger burden for the parents who are still taking care of the kids.
What do you think?
I think the bigger burden we're going to see is the kids taking care of the parents once entitlements get cut and as things can become more expensive, because there are far more boomers that need to be taken care of, and there are far more boomers in that boomer generation that don't have a responsible, or they don't have an adequate supplemental savings to go along with Social Security and Medicare.
It's just like my grandparents. Well, it's really just my grandmother, but my grandmother, she don't really have a savings to pass on to me. And even though I love my grandmother, I don't want to have to say like something bad happened to her. She's already 70. And now me at 26, I have to stay home, which she's already here, but I have to put my life on hold to take care of her. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't want to, deal with that. I wouldn't really mind dealing with that if I was like 50, 40, and my grandmother is like 70. I wouldn't mind that, too much. But me at the age now, if I would have to take care of my grandmother, I would feel some type of way. I even feel, even with my grandparents, my grandmother now, or like my dad or my mom, I'm like, damn, y'all was young at a certain point. Why don't y'all have a savings? Why don't y'all have this to pass on? Why don't, like, I'm not asking for it now, but why don't, it's not that much you have to show for it now. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, I feel like me as a young person, I gotta kind of like go ahead and put my life behind to go ahead and try to be you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and try to be rich. Go ahead and try to be, prosperous in my family so I can take care of everybody, and I feel like probably every man felt like that, or every woman felt like that. Like, damn, my parents or my grandparents didn't do it. Now I have to do it. Somebody have to be rich in my family, and I have to be that one. You get what I'm saying?
Day of a girl being like, why aren't people saving money? Why are we traveling so much? It's because I can't buy a house. It's because the minimum wage where I live is $7.25. I'm not kidding. It's because I get paid $3 an hour as a server plus tips. Like, quite candidly, we cannot afford to buy a house. We cannot afford to buy a new car. We cannot afford life in general. Like, I can't go to the grocery store without spending at least $200. So why would I not go on a trip to like fulfill that gap in my life?
I'm gonna try to thrive to get ahead of the curve type of guy. And if it means not going on a vacation every year, if that means not, you know what I'm saying, like spending my money just so I can, feel good in my life, I don't mind doing it. I feel like right now in my 20s, I feel like this is the time to grind. That's what I've been doing my whole life since I've been doing DoorDash. But I feel like with DoorDash, it's just, I ain't gonna lie, DoorDash put me behind in my life too, because like it's so many times my car went down and I had to spend my savings, like $2,500 to fix my transmission in my car. And then when they fixed it, they kept it for 6 months. And then they kept having problems after then. It's just, and then I had to spend I was spending like $1,500 a month on renting cars. So it's just like, man, it's just, and then $1,200 a month on rent at the same time. So it's just like, some people say like, man, I'm just gonna take my little money I got and just, go travel the world with it. And I understand it, I really do. But responsibilities just come first for me. It come first for me. I could have said all the money I saved up, I could have just said forget it. I'ma just say forget my rent, get an eviction on my record and just say forget it, but I be trying to, take the more responsible route so it won't mess me up later on in life. But people like this, they just say forget it and they just don't care about their responsibilities. Sometimes I feel for them, like I'm like, damn, I wish I could do that too. I'm like, damn, I wish I could do that too.
Maturing is realizing that it's cooler to have money in your pocket than having really nice things.
Are you thinking about buying a new car anytime soon? I'm here to tell you that you do not need to go to a dealership and spend tens of thousands of dollars to get great features out of a car and reliability. I purchased this particular vehicle for 2,500 Canadian dollars, and it has been nothing but good to me. It has an absolutely gorgeous interior, the comfiest ride you will ever be in. It has backseat ashtrays and lighters. Yeah, I wonder where this came from. Don't put yourself into debt for something you might not even be able to afford. Spending cheap money on a car does not mean that you're going to sacrifice quality. They're easy to do maintenance on, cheap parts, and they're built to last. Like, this car is almost 40 years old. I've owned plenty of new cars, and I've never been more happy than I am with this thing. Please don't trick yourself into thinking that you got to give the bank a bunch of money. You can still ride in style and put that money towards something that's really important. I could go on.
See, a lot of people don't know about them old schools. They don't. a lot of people don't know about them old schools. It's easier to work on than like a newer car. You know what I'm saying? Like, the engine isn't as tight, and that's what I love. I love with the engine, like everything, like the alternator isn't on the side of the car, or I gotta put a jack up under the car in order to lift the engine up. Maybe some old schools are like that, but the old school that I had an 86 Bonneville. And it was the only hard part about working on that car was the alternator, because you had to have like a long wrench. You couldn't have no short wrench. You had to have a long wrench to you know, you got to put the wrench on the bolt, and then you had to let down the serpentine belt, and then just getting the belt up there. Oh my God, it took about Superman strength to try to get that belt on that car. But if you know how to work on cars, old school is the way to go. And plus, it's so much cheaper, you know, when you get it fixed. They not gonna charge you an arm and a leg, you know. And that's one of the things I love about old school. That's what I'm saying. Like, saving your money is the way to go. It's gonna save you in the long run if you save your money. If you don't make dumb decisions.
Single, without kids, living in a van, outside my mom's house. But I'm on the next chapter of my life. I'm currently building a tiny home next door, like literally next door to my mom. This is my tiny home I'm building, and it's literally next door to my mom's house. This is my mom.
No.
Mommy, happy that I'm moving next door?
Yeah.
You know, she looked about stress free. I look older than her. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie. It's tiny homes. You know, I feel for people who are living in cars right now. You know, I was out there living in a car. Y'all see my other videos. I stayed 38 days in my car, and I was debating on just moving back to that city. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna move back. I was genuinely gonna move back, but I said, since I already spent like $7,000 to $10,000 in this home, you know what? I'm not gonna chalk it up as a loss. I'm gonna just thug it out. But a lot of people, we trying to get to the point of living no bills, or like your cost of living is so low. Cause that's what I feel like. You rich if your cost of living is low.
Too, they're actually doing this thing too. If you look it up, there's this thing called boommates. So look it up. They're shacking together because rising cost of living is crazy for them too. I mean, they're living off of Social Security. Speaking of Social Security, my parents are also living off of Social Security. But for them, I mean, they're not as stressed because they basically don't have bills, and you know, they basically stack money right now. So my parents, they're double chilling. They're chilling. You know, like the young philosopher and comedian Jack Morgan says, a man with no bills is a rich man. So they're basically rich, even though they didn't save any money, you know, getting to retirement.
That's facts. I just legit said that. Like, man, if I could go back, if I was 18 again, man, I would have did a lot of stuff different. Honestly, I probably would have turned this little boring. It was really a boring den with like a bunch of tools. I would have been turned this boring into like a little tiny home and been staying back here. I would have never went to college. I would have went to trade school. It's a lot of stuff, man. Living bill free is the way to go. Yeah, man, if y'all like this video, man, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, leave your comments down below. I will include them inside my next video. And also, I'm out.